Welcome, fam, to the week 13 of the 2023 season in the FFFL recap. And who do we have with us today?
Andy Stevens, your uncle.
Yeah,
Everybody's been ragging on me the last day here.
yeah, you had yourself a week. I'll tell you that much, Andy. You had yourself a fine week
Well,
all
that's
around.
when I did the draft. That's what was intended. It's just too bad it's week 13.
I was so farsighted.
I was looking down the road.
I was looking
Yeah,
at week 13 matchups and was like, all right, this is what I want for week 13.
yeah.
Um,
Dream hopes.
yeah. I would say it was a brutal week for me. Like it was all around in fantasy football. My survivor pool, I lost.
Oh,
I lost survivor pool because the person that won. So think about this: the person that won my survivor pool, their team scored 6 points, and they won because
what?
it was the San Diego Chargers who beat the Patriots 6-0. That person won, and I chose the Jaguars over the Bengals.
Oh,
And in that game, obviously, Jaguars lost in overtime, and I just lost like $300. So that hurt. Oh, that hurt so bad.
yeah. Yep.
And then along with other stuff.
In
Um,
overtime.
yeah, yeah. So anyway, how's bro code going over there at the new gig?
I I think it's going well. I hope they think I'm doing well. I like it a lot, and
Yeah,
I'm home every night. I couldn't be more blessed with that. I get to be home every night. I really enjoy it. I mean, it's totally a different. It's manufacturing, so it's a totally different side of the food business. But I've always been in food business, and I'm learning so much. I feel kind of reinvigorated because I'm learning so much, and it's
yeah.
something different. The people I've been working with are good professional people, and everybody's been helpful. And like I said, it's going well. I mean, adjusting to getting up in the morning has been the biggest probably thing for me, but it's gone well.
That's good. All right. Well, all right, Louis. The 1 month review is out of the way, so good to go.
Well, I think he needs to give the 1 month
Oh,
review.
I thought he just asked me to do it on
No.
this podcast
I,
here, so I figured I'd
I
help him
think they
out.
need to give the review, not me. They need to probably.
No,
That's
that
coming.
was it. That was the review. I just asked you how you're doing, and then you gave a good enough response to where they're okay with that and they feel confident.
I
Oh
hope so.
man, but it's been a
I,
month. Think about that. It's basically been a month,
uh,
man.
it has been, and I like it. It's good.
It's blown by, but that's awesome. And you two played each other, so we'll get into that
A few
matchup
times.
here at some point soon. But we might as well just get right into it, Andy. Let's rock it out. All right, I'm gonna share my screen, share my beautiful PowerPoint that I created. Oh my god. All right, the week 13 recap, everybody. We're gonna go through the matchup, starting with that ass whooping, and then going down to nail biters. Just so you're aware, we had no nail biters this week and had a few ass whoopings. So we'll go through that. We'll touch on the injury report with Dr. Sam, hit up these waiver wire what to do's. Comment of the week, talk about that playoff picture. Now, all the teams are in for what's going to be the playoffs, but doesn't mean that the playoffs stay the same. And then we have our week 14 matchups, which have a lot of playoff implications. And then we'll hit up that DFS corner between me and you, see who whooped on who this week. But let's get right into it with this ass whooping of the week. And this was the greatest ass whooping ever delivered in the FFFL. It is the highest point total, I believe, ever in the FFFL. Explain to me how this came to be.
Well, first of all, Glenn, I would not auto draft. First of all,
He set it up. He wants to make it known. He set up his auto draft so that the system would auto draft appropriately.
yeah, I wouldn't do it. But sometimes you got to go with your gut when you're drafting. And
That's true.
it hurt me a little bit this year, but still, I think. I mean, the biggest thing is Eckler's not been producing for him
Right.
like he thought he would, and I'd say I kind of feel that pain. I get it. I got Aaron Jones, who's been a piece of poop, and I not real strong. Sorry, Glenn.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's been a tough part. I would agree. Austin Eckler's been tough. And on Sam's side, I mean, who would have thought that Jamar Chase and Joe Mixon would be going off last night, and that they do this with the Cincy offense that we had seen. So those two, along with the best tight end apparently in the league, Sam Laporta, who just keeps getting it done.
Well, when I went to bed last night, I thought I'd be okay on high score, but obviously Sam needs the money more than I do to pay back student loans. So
Yep.
let him have his $10. I'm good.
Yep. And that is true, but yeah, 177.98, 178, highest score
Impressive.
that I'm aware of. So
Impressive.
very much so, and he's the man I play next week, so I'm not looking forward to it. Whoa,
Then
who do we have
I'm
here?
gonna go out on a limb and predict right now you're probably gonna win because he'll probably score like 89 points.
Hey, I got somebody for you. What?
I'm saying something to Andy.
Okay, what are you gonna say to Andy?
Andy,
Oh.
don't be better.
Don't be
what?
bitter. Oh.
Bitter?
Yeah.
What is he bitter about? Did you say bitter?
No, I
That
said
was
bitter.
Sam's
Bitter
text message.
means that you're
Oh.
mad. Bitter means that you're mad.
I mean, a little bit, maybe. Okay, she's
Hey,
learning.
Tage, sorry, you're too young for me to say how bitter I was. So thank you.
I love you. Oh my gosh, this stuff that's coming out of her mouth now. So funny.
Not that wasn't a setup.
Yeah, I don't. Did you say bitter? I don't remember.
That was in the text. No, Sam did. That I was bitter
Oh,
because I lost the highest
oh my
score.
gosh! So that's what. So
And
I
that's
also
why
had her
I
come in and
text back.
say that.
Oh, I was messing down. I'm not
Oh,
fucking bitter.
this is so much better orchestrated than I realized.
Yeah, it was good. That was good.
Well done. But nice job, Sam. Won the high point of the week. That's his third time winning high point of the week, high point total of the week. And in huge fashion, considering that the next fucking match we're going to talk about is you scoring 175 points.
Hang on one second. Make sure he spends that $10 towards his student loans so the government and the taxpayers don't have to. Okay.
Yeah, right.
Just throwing that out there. All right, let's go to the next matchup. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll help you out. Tell me what happened here, man. You whooped the crap out of your bro.
Well, the only thing that would make this drink better, which is a nice old fashioned, is if it was a smoked old fashioned, because that's exactly what I did to Louis. Smoked his.
Oh, is that brandy or is that a little bourbon?
Actually, a bourbon, a little bit of orange bitters, and a little simple syrup, and some fine. It's a good drink, but when you get them smoked, oh my god, another level.
But I didn't hear fucking muddled fruit in there, and that's if you're not muddling your fruit at
muddled
home.
cherry, and they're Bordeaux cherries.
Okay,
and,
all right. You got a little Bordeaux.
Yeah, they cost a lot of money for a damn cherry.
Bordeaux cherries are expensive.
Oh my god! I was like, you got to be. One guy suggested a jar to me, and he was like, "Oh, these are the best on the market. $23." No.
Yeah.
$8 jar.
Because I don't even want to pay that. But I got it.
Right. Well, I only use one at a time. But needless to say, this is again, when I did my draft and I looked at this team, I was like, man, this is what I'm looking for. And I thought they could do this on a more regular basis. And I'm not saying to this extent, but I thought they could put up digits and stuff. But now Zach Lawrence is out. We'll talk about him later. But Aaron Jones was a bad pick, but he's done nothing. But I guess I caught Louis on the right day because, I mean, he still scored 123
I was going to
points.
say 123 would have beat most people this week. Again, Louis comes out a loser. I mean, I swear to God, probably at least 4 of those 5 losses are like he scored 115, 120 plus.
Exactly. And I mean, his players have been pretty steady and
Yep.
consistent. So he's one that I would still say people need to reckon with coming in the playoffs.
Yeah, I'm definitely worried, and I'm still slated to play against him in the first round. I don't like it, so no, I don't want that. But yeah, for him, and finally DK Metcalf having a huge game, that was probably good to see because then you feel more confident put him out there. Especially when you see a guy like Adam Thielen who seems like he's going downhill and ain't
Right.
gonna ain't gonna be doing much more. But he's got a lot of good players out there. Even a good pickup of Tutu Atwell. So I know it seems very under the radar, but Tutu could be a good one with those two wide receivers that seem to often be hurt. That guy actually might become something. So it's very odd that he's making these weird moves that are flying under the radar as well. But
I don't
but
want to talk on him, but when I go back to his office, he's on fantasy football working his shit. So
that's not a part of the review.
telling him,
Don't worry.
but
we
next
we
game,
won't let this leak out. He might be listening to this while he's at the office as well.
yeah, tell him to turn the volume down.
Yeah, but you did whoop up on him. You smoked him this week. Nice job, Andy. And we will move on away from this ass whooping to the third ass whooping of the week. This is over 40-point ass whooping from Bob. He delivered it to Kyle. So gave him a nice kick in the caboose. Anything that you take away from this matchup or that you would highlight?
That Bob did a great job of drafting Miami Dolphins.
He did.
And see, being a lifelong Dolphin fan, I'm happy with what they're doing. I'm glad they're not in the NFC, but they're doing well.
Yeah, they are.
Even Derrick Henry, before he went out of the game, I mean, shit, he almost scored 30 points. So
yeah,
and Evan Ingram finally scores a touchdown, and scores him 18 points for a tight end. So yeah, he had a pretty solid squad there.
yeah. I think Bob has a good
And
team. I mean, he obviously does have a good solid team there. And Tyreek's been the best player in fantasy football probably this year. Just been absolutely great every week. And he got a good game from Tua. He'd love to get more great games from Tua, but he got a good game. So we will take it. And on
and
Kyle's side,
after Kyle's comments today, I'm glad Bob whipped his ass. So
yeah, and Kyle lost Tank Dell, so he lost Tank Dell, which is a tough loss for him because in my opinion, just kind of looking at his roster, Lockett you can throw in there, but he's got Ezekiel Elliott. I know he's going to put in at flex.
he's got players.
So we'll see how he kind of maneuvers, kind of moving forward. But Bob put a pretty good whooping on him of 43 points, so that's pretty good. So nice
Good job, Bob.
Yep, nice job, Bob-O. And that victory right there, plus a couple other losses, is what set the playoffs where they are kind of at right now, or at least the teams that are in it. This game did not help set the playoffs, but it did happen. So we have to talk about it. This is Casey beating up on me. And at the end of the day, what it makes me think about is all the trading I've done and why. Because then I look at a Brock Purdy that I traded away. I had Brock Purdy and Sam Howell, and these two guys are doing pretty good at quarterback. And Brock Purdy put up almost 40 points on my ass this week. So he made me pay for trading him away. He did not like that, apparently.
You know what? I don't think you're in bad shape. But
Oh, no.
I think here's the one thing I was thinking about today, though, is you look at the league and it shifted quite a bit because Casey didn't have a really good year last year. Kyle didn't have a really good year last year. Tyler didn't have a good year he didn't have a good year this year either, but but needless to say, I mean, they made some moves and
yeah,
they've gotten better. And I think it's going to make us a better league. It's going to make us more competitive. And I guarantee you next year, I'm going to come back. I'm sure Zach, well, if he doesn't quit, comes back. But, I think it'll make us a more competitive league because everybody's getting a little better at playing this game, and it's going to make it more competitive. And Casey has a pretty good squad.
Yeah, Casey does have a good team. And as you know, in football in general, right? I mean, we're playing a game off of a game, and in the game of football, things change every week. Every week, things happen, and You don't know, and all of a sudden Trevor Lawrence is no longer your quarterback, even when you thought he was, and he goes, and we'll talk about it later. But he goes down the wrong time. Like even that now that impacts other players around him and all that stuff. So it is very interesting of how it goes. But Casey gets another W, and ultimately, if he gets a W this week, he does secure. He is the number one seed automatically at that point. So
See,
he, yeah, so he did very well. On my side, I'm not too worried. I'll get Jawan Johnson. That was very weird considering they were down pass catchers, and I don't even think he got a ball thrown his way. It was the most
it was.
random thing.
Think I think New Orleans played a terrible game. They were just god awful. We got to see that game out here, and it was just god awful.
Yeah,
So
I hated watching it. I'll just say that, and my pivot wouldn't have mattered, but my pivot was Minshew. I was really on the fence. I'm like, I'd like to get Minshew instead of Derek Carr after Carr, having his injuries and being down pass catchers and whatnot. But either way, I lost. I lost. Casey wins, and we move on, and we keep marching forward.
Bro Code 2.
Yeah, right. Next up was EJ versus Allison, and EJ got his revenge this week and took her down sans a tight end. He said, I don't need it because your tight end
You
didn't
know,
fucking do anything anyways.
now I know why I hate him so much in competition, because he fucking wins and doesn't even play a player. Oh my god.
Here's what I will say. There are leagues that I've played in that would actually be a huge no-no that you don't play. You got to play a full lineup. Like you can't have somebody on bye in your lineup. For me, I personally don't care. I was like it's the
I,
game. The game's the
I don't
game.
care.
I don't. Yeah, like I don't
If you
care.
decide to take a zero,
Yeah,
that's on you. Is
yeah, that's
my
where I go with it because I
But
don't
it
like
looks
how
like
many times.
I decided to take a zero at tight end as well.
That's what exactly. But I think of how many times you go into a matchup where you're ahead, and the only thing that you have is your defense, and what's one of the few positions that could go in the negative, as we see pretty much every week. So in
Good
those
point.
cases, I'm like, yeah, I'm not playing my defense. I'll just take a zero and take the W at that point. But yeah,
Good
he
point.
whooped her. He whooped her.
Yeah, he did.
He whooped her with one less person, and Christian Kirk got hurt pretty early in that game, from what I understand. So but
Yeah,
all
he did.
around good scores on his end. And this the only thing I'll say for Allison's side. I mean, she's still first in the East at this point, but she can't. She's got to feel a little shaky. Like Justin Herbert ain't looking good. Her running backs didn't look good this week, and she doesn't have a backup. Well, Damian Pierce was a good pickup for her. That trade has worked out. I think on her end with Dobbs for Romeo Dobbs and Damian Pierce, so that could work out. But man, it's a little struggle with her in
If
that spot.
I mean, just my word of advice to her is, if I was going into the playoffs right now, I'd be revamping some of my bench players and dropping some of them and trying to find the people that might be able to give me a little bit of a boost. But
Yeah.
I mean, Quentin Johnston just has not worked out this year. He's
No.
not ready for the pros. Parham is boomer bust, and he's more of a blocker in my opinion. But I mean, she's got some good players, but there's a couple I'd probably just try to swing for the fences and find somebody that can maybe help you a little bit.
Yeah, I'd probably say the same. And she battles that each week too. And I'm one that looks at it like, even if I'm not going to play the person, you're kind of taking a stab at like, hey, will this turn into something? And it's
Well,
better to go after
and the
some of
other
those
thing
players.
is, they won't be on your opponent's team if they do go off. So
Right. Yeah, exactly. So she will probably maybe make some adjustments. I don't know. We'll see what happens when we talk about our waivers. So
yeah,
we'll see what
okay.
goes down there. But we got one more game. One more. This is the last one, and this is the one that kind of took people out. I know that Sam took out Glenn, and then Tyler, he was like, "Fuck all this! I'm not giving up. I'm not rolling over." I beat Zach and took Zach out of the playoff hunt at that point with that W. So, way to go, Tyler! Way to not give up. But Terry McLaurin gives him a nice zero spot. And he doesn't have many answers, but come back this next week. Hopefully, he'll have a few more that'll be able to play for him. But both teams looking a little rough over
Yeah,
there.
Thank God Tyler had McLovin at quarterbacks because that's what saved his ass.
Yeah, but he made a great play with the Colts, putting the Colts D out there. Colts got him 17
True.
points. But you're right,
True.
Jordan Love, 2 weeks in a row of I think 30 plus, right?
Yeah. Yeah. He's played
So
pretty well. So
look,
yeah.
yeah, looking good, man. So I like Love as the quarterback there, and on Zach's side, I mean, I think Mahomes is the crushing blow of it all. I got to be honest.
So I not Zach, please don't take this personally, but let's go back a little ways when we were talking about nobody would trade with him and everything. And I threw out a trade, which happened to include somebody you got from me, for Patrick Mahomes. And it's kind of like that song from Garth Brooks. What is it? Prayers never answered. God's prayers never
Oh,
answered.
yeah.
I'm glad he
Yeah.
turned me down because
One of God's greatest gifts are unanswered
yes.
prayers.
So because I was like,
Fucking-
damn, I kind of wanted Mahomes, and I'm
was
thinking,
it
all right,
was it Thunder Rolls?
no. Yeah, well, it did on him. But yeah, Mahomes is, I mean, no receivers. And I'm telling you what, on a realistic side of football, Kansas City, I don't think has a chance to get through the playoffs. I mean, they'll make the playoffs, but I don't think they're going to get through the playoffs because they just don't have the receivers and the depth. I mean,
Yeah.
they got some good players in Pacheco, and yeah, Mahomes a great player and everything, but I just don't think they have the total package to do it.
I would agree with that. They don't seem as strong, and it's weird because their defense seems like it's the best it's been as far as how they've played for the most part. But
I agree.
I think as of late they've started to wear down a little bit.
Yep.
So it's definitely hurt them.
Keep
But
your
yeah,
chin
that
up.
was
Keep your chin up.
yeah on both sides. Because it's still at the end of the day, you got another week, so you can get weekly high point total, and we got the consolation bracket coming up because I know the playoffs were decided, but there's still things that are going on within that. So
Yep.
important stuff. And speaking of weekly high points, here's the roundup. So we have Sam, who's won it 3 weeks. EJ won it 3 weeks. I won it 2. And then these other five have won it 1. So Glenn, Allison, Zach, Kyle, and Louie all took high point of the week 1 week. We have one more week remaining for that. So remember, it only stays within week 14. So Andy's going to put up another 175 spot next week and hope that that's enough because it wasn't enough this
I know.
past week. It's crazy.
And I'm going to have to do it without anybody in the quarterback position. So
I know. I saw that and I thought, we'll get to it in the matchups. I'm like, oh, what a bummer. I'm like, Lawrence goes down is the worst time because your actual good backup is not playing. So
exactly.
how much love is that? But yeah,
Oh,
so that wraps up our week 13 matchups. And as you know, that takes us right into important sponsorship time. And we just keep getting them. They just keep piling in.
I am so excited to see this one. Allison's. Oh,
At
wow.
Allison School of Hard Blocks, you'll receive the finest goalkeeper training in Chicagoland. You'll learn not only how to look hard, but most importantly, how to block hard.
Oh, my.
Allison's mission is to divert the youth of today away from American football and towards a more appropriately named sport like soccer. She kickstarts her training with penalty shots. If any participant kicks it over the goal, Allison berates them for kicking a field goal and kicks their ass literally. Next, you'll do plyometrics. That's how Allison got her 6-inch vertical. And you can too by jumping on boxes of different heights. The last part of Allison's divergence program requires the trainee to go undercover and join a fantasy football league that doesn't allow kickers. As the trainee keeps winning, they continue to talk about soccer and how easy fantasy football is, and that if they wanted to be hard, they need to go to Allison's School of Hard Blocks. If you didn't think that plan was weird, then please call Allison's School of Hard Blocks at 912-426-4273. Can you kick it? Yes, you can. Woo!
I
What
hope
a
it
good.
wasn't an actual phone number. My God.
That's a what?
I hope that's not an actual phone number.
It might be. I wonder if people could would actually do that.
YouTube.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Well, Dr. Sam's got had some great sponsors here as of late, and he should be very thankful that he's had them. But let's go to Dr. Sam live on the scene in this car and see what's going on with some injuries.
All right. NFL injury report, week 13. Trevor Lawrence, quarterback for the Jacksonville Jaguars, left the game late in the fourth quarter with an ankle sprain. He did leave with a boot and crutches. However, he's supposed to get an MRI today to figure out the extent of that injury. Kenny Pickett, quarterback for the Steelers, is out for about 2 to 4 weeks as he underwent ankle surgery to hopefully improve the healing process on his high ankle sprain as they try to make a playoff push. Derek Carr, quarterback for the Saints, is in concussion protocol. He's been dealing with rib and shoulder injuries all season long. So after that big hit, he likely has more than one thing going on. Ramondre Stevenson, running back for the Patriots, injured his ankle on a hip drop tackle. The x-ray was negative. However, they're waiting for the MRI results to see if it's low or high ankle, which will determine how long he is going to miss time. Brian Robinson, running back for Washington, looks like he had a hamstring injury. Depending on the severity and kind of how he progresses through that, likely 2 to 4 weeks. Amari DiMercado, running back for Arizona, took a pretty brutal hit, had a concussion, and also they said some neck issues, so likely 1 to 2 weeks, depending on how bad the neck extent is of it. Marquise Brown, wide receiver for Arizona, looks like he re-aggravated his heel injury. He tried to suit up and play, but he didn't. I believe they're going on their bye soon here, so he should be good coming back out of that. Tank Dell, wide receiver for the Texans, had a fractured fibula, will likely miss the remainder of the season. Puka Nacua, wide receiver for the Rams, looks like he has a rib injury plus a shoulder sprain. Typically not a huge drop in production for the wide receivers unless they land and re-aggravate that shoulder. Amari Cooper, wide receiver for the Browns, looks like he left the game with a concussion, will most likely miss 1 week unless he clears concussion protocol early. And then Tyler Higbee, tight end for the Rams, looks like he had a neck injury, is currently listed day to day at this time.
Thank you, Dr. Sam.
Very nice.
Yeah,
I'm
always
glad
nice.
he won that. I'm glad he won that $10 so he doesn't have to live in his car long.
Yeah, I know. I saw that and I was like, oh my gosh, he's really trying to get it in. You know, he's got a busy schedule of surgeries and things like that, and so he just tries to fit it in where he can. That was his lunch break, you know.
Lunch break at 4 in the morning. I know how he feels.
Same, actually
Yeah,
do as well.
exactly.
But thank you for that, Dr. Sam. So now let's get into the Week 14 waiver wire, and we will start with some quarterbacks. Anybody on this list, if you needed one, you know, a guy, I know a guy that might need one. Anybody that you might be going after?
I'm not going to tip my hand.
No,
I'll
I'll tip my hand.
I'll take the top 5 basically because now
Yeah,
I won't take Dobbs. Yeah, I mean I'd like to get Love. I think he's going to be a good one. And I'll tell you what, Jake Browning. Not only has
yeah,
he looked good when earlier in the season for Burrow, but he looked good yesterday, and he comes from a college program that produces some good quarterbacks. So I think Jake Browning could be somebody that we could be watching on a regular Sunday going forward somewhere.
yeah. I didn't get to watch the game, but everything I heard, like they've been raving about, like, hey, he came in and did very well. And he's getting practice reps. So like, you know, when we're talking about it earlier
Like,
on, you know, he's not getting practice reps, so you're not gonna be able to get better. But it sounds like he's doing well and shit well enough to where Mixon and friggin' Chase combined for almost 60 points. So we'll take that. But Actually, it's funny. I put both Brown. I put Browning and Minshew. Those are the two I'm really interested in, and I'm actually even interested in Jameis Winston. I know he's a gunslinger, but shit, when he was with Tampa Bay and they were flinging it like they were, he was a great one to have. Even though he was throwing as
Yeah,
many interceptions as touchdowns, like the point. But here's
you,
where I say because ours are 6-2, right? So you're looking at it as you get 6 points for a touchdown and 2 points for an interception. I don't care if they could be even. That's fine. If he's throwing 30 and 30, I don't care because I'm getting
exactly.
180 to compared to 60. So yeah. But those are the
Yep.
guys I would like. Otherwise, I'm not a big fan so far. No, not a big fan of some of these others. Even DeVito's turning it around, but no thanks. I'm not taking a chance on that man.
No,
No
no, no, no.
thanks. Do we have two Monday night games?
Yes, we do this week.
I was like, I'm looking at Levis and DeVito, like, why are we have two of them? And they're at the same fucking time.
Yeah, I don't know why they did that, but I saw that last night and I'm like, what the hell?
Okay, well, sorry to just randomly interrupt with that. I just noticed that. I'm like, what is happening? All right. Well, those are your waiver wire quarterbacks that we might have you look into. And my Minshew take actually worked this past week. If I had taken him, it would have been all right. He got 23 points, so he didn't do bad this past week. So he could be good. What about waiver wire running backs? Anybody on this list or anybody not on this list you might be interested in?
Well, you don't have him on that list, but with Stevenson being out, I'd go with Zeke Elliott, man. He's
Well,
gonna
it's
be
tough to have
somebody.
a guy on your list that's on somebody else's team, Andy. He's already on Kyle's team.
Maybe I'm maybe I'm on the wrong league there. Okay.
Yeah, you might be because
Yeah.
he ain't in our league.
Dearness Johnson might be somebody to look at.
Yeah, I would. I put the Ernest on the list just as a good handcuff slash backup
Well,
to have. Now, I don't know this because I realize I don't know the rules. Well, Pacheco, he got ejected and he threw a punch. Does that mean he might get suspended?
no,
No.
he'll play the game. This isn't
Okay.
college. This isn't kiddie college where you don't put in Florida State because their quarterback's injured.
No. This is the. Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah. No.
But I just didn't know because I thought if it was a sneaky guy here might be Clyde Edwards-Helaire, but if Pacheco is playing, then that doesn't matter. But
No, I don't think there's any, suspension whatsoever.
okay, then the only person on here I would say is Dearness Johnson. You just never know, and I think then Etienne's had some injury, like they haven't really kept him out
Uh,
of games, but he's
he
had a
looked good
few.
last night.
Yeah, but he's had but even before that, he had a chest injury. We're like, I don't know if he's going to play. Like they didn't know if he was going to play earlier in the week. Stuff like that. That's where I'm like, he could. That's why Dearness might be a decent one to have. But anyway, there's
I,
nobody on this list I care about, so I don't
if I
really.
if I just say one thing real quick in this time is if you're in the playoffs, you better look at your bench and start handcuffing your top people. That's what you need to look at right now because who's the next guy up?
Yeah,
Um, I wouldn't be looking for. I mean, I'm looking at a home run if I'm way behind and I'm not don't have a chance to win it. But if
yeah,
I'm pretty solid team, I'm going to look at my handcuffs and I'm going to see how I can protect my team. So that in case my leading running back or leading wide receiver, who's the next person that's going to replace them that might have a chance to score points?
yeah.
So at this point, that's what I would go towards.
And I would agree. So I mean, there's a few avenues to look there for a lot of different people, and you gotta see if you can fit it on your bench and what you're willing to drop into. Because I think that's where the people get worried is who. Oh, I don't want to drop this player. You might be dropping some good players, and you just got to be like, okay, that's my choice because it makes my team better. At the end of the day, while you can play defense as much as you want, like at the end of the day, it's about how is your team made better.
Let me ask you a question then. So, would you drop somebody that you think has an outlet? Let's use Tajay Sharp as an example.
Yeah,
He might have a spark late in the season. Who knows? would you drop Elijah Mitchell, your handcuff to CMC, for somebody like that when you're going into the playoffs?
No,
I
not
don't.
me. No, I would not do that.
That's what I'm saying. That's where you
Yeah.
need to start your top backups. And if you're in the playoffs, start protecting yourself.
No, I feel you there. And it's just that for a lot of us, like I look at mine. Okay, so I have Bijan. Do I really want Cordero Patterson? Because I don't think he's the next guy up. It's Tyler Algier, who I can't
You
get.
don't have. I
I
agree.
have, David Montgomery. I can't get Jameer Gibbs, so therefore I can't get his backup. So where I go with it is I got to look at my roster and say, okay, I'd have to if I want to pick up another running back. So I'm gonna say, let's say I want to pick up one of these guys that really isn't my guy, but it's a handcuff of some kind. Do I really want to give up a Devin Singletary? Do I want to give up a Jeff Wilson Jr., which that sounds crazy, but any injury happens to a Mostert, and to me, I have the same thing. I have the handcuffed in for that, right? So like that's where I kind of go like, no, I'm not really willing to do that, and I wouldn't for my own team. But if I'm another team, kind of to your point. So okay, to your point, if you're the Tajay Spears owner, that's a tough one because Derek just got hurt and he might not be playing.
But there,
So,
he's not in concussion protocol.
oh, I forgot. That's right. He didn't go into it. That's
No,
right. So if I had Tajay Spears, so let's just say I'm not the Derrick Henry owner, but I have Tajay Spears, but I am the Travis Etienne owner. Are you basically saying should I be dropping Tajay Spears to get Dearness Johnson, who would actually be my handcuff? Yes, I would end
I
up
would.
doing that. I'd hope I could drop somebody different because Tajay has shown like that dude's good. But yeah, I would do that. What about you?
Yep.
Where do you feel like where do you land in that?
No, if I was in the playoffs and I had ETN, I would probably make that move if I had Tajay Sharp. But I have Tajay Sharp, so
Yeah, I get it.
I'm just
But
using it.
yeah.
But
No, right. That's an example. But I think it's an example for others to think about, yeah, like how
but
you
I mean,
approach
somebody
this.
like Dearness Johnson, yeah. Joshua Kelly, no, because I know that's on Glenn's team. So, I mean, if
Yeah.
I had Nixon, I might pick up Chase Brown
Okay.
instead of somebody you don't play. If you have somebody you've never played really that's sitting there and you think they might go off, I'd maybe get Chase Brown to back up Mixon.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Oh, I get it. I'm with you on that. One thing I don't handcuff though, I don't really handcuff wide receivers. That's not something I
No,
ever
no,
think
no.
about doing. Don't really need to do it. Is there anybody on this wide receiver list that you might be interested in?
I think Zay Jones has done very well for himself. He's been playing really good ball.
Mm-hmm.
And no,
Yeah, I don't like the only thing I don't like about the Zay Jones is just the matchup. That's the only thing I don't like. But otherwise, like he's the offense runs so much better with him. They have that quarterback issue now. So without Trevor Lawrence, do I feel as confident
true.
in him? I don't know. But other guys on the list, I don't love this list. Elijah Moore had a decent connection with Flacco, and that actually goes back to their Jets days together. So that one actually is interesting if Flacco is going to be the guy, but they haven't even decided on that. Mingo had his most targets of the year so far, and he's actually gotten more targets kind of each week as they go on. So he could be an interesting guy to add as like a basement floor. I got to play somebody and I need to get 8 to 10
Right.
points. That'd be Jonathan Mingo. The only thing I put on here was Alec Pierce at the bottom. I put him on here for saying it's a trap. Please don't. Yes, he had a huge game because he caught some big passes, but it wasn't Minshew's first game with Alec Pierce. Alec Pierce actually has, I think, the most routes run on that offense. And you would not know it that he has the most routes run because he doesn't ever get the ball. And so he caught what, like 3 or 4 passes? I don't know. They were just big passes. So don't fall in the trap. I would not go after Alec Pierce after one good game. So don't
It's
do it.
a trap.
It's a trap. Now we're gonna go tight ends. These are always my favorite. Anybody on here that you would go after?
I'd probably rather have a kicker than. Um, I mean, likely looks like a good. I mean, he's a good player, but he just doesn't get a lot of targets. I mean, there's so many weapons on that team. I like him. Other than that, no. I'd roll the dice maybe on Tucker Craft, just as a wild throw.
Yeah, I know. I like that. I put him on here for that. You had Christian Watson that went down, and while he didn't take a ton of targets, he probably got 5, 6 targets, and
But he
you,
was red zone target.
right, and you sprinkle that amongst other players, and I think Tucker that just adds another 1 or 2 targets to Tucker Craft, in my opinion. And at that point, he's getting 6 or 7 targets now, and that's not bad. And he hasn't looked bad. He's actually because he's a rookie as well.
Where'd he go to school at?
Probably fucking Nebraska. Probably some terrible school like Nebraska.
Oh, really? South Dakota State
I
Fighting
don't know.
Jackrabbits, baby.
Oh, my bad.
They're in the FCS playoffs. If
Him and
it's
Carson
really
Wentz.
football.
Or is
Okay.
Carson Wentz
Fighting
North Dakota?
Jackrabbits.
Thank you. Thank you.
There's
There's a feeler. There's Conklin. I would say Conklin would be a good one. He got 9 targets. He just only got 3. They probably most of them sucked, so that was the problem. But they already gotten rid of Tim Boyle. They already let him go, so he's no longer on the team. But anywho, he could be another one. Who knows? But there's a few on here. Michael Mayer, blah blah blah. But yeah, likely it'd be the number 1 on the tight end list. And that wraps up our waiver wire for this week. Now goes into comments of the week. I have one in mind. Do you have any in mind?
The one that was blah 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 yada yada yada. I don't know. I honestly, there were so many of them. I will say one of the people that I really like their comments the best is Bob. Doesn't say a whole lot, but when he does, they're pretty good.
Yep,
You know?
I would agree.
I
Bob's
like
good.
Bob, but I couldn't pick one out this week, honestly.
I liked your Monday morning text of extreme
Good Monday.
jubilation.
You know, at 3:30 in the morning, the sun was shining, the birds were singing, everything was good.
I love it. Yep, that was mine. I got because I could see you saying it, and I just got a good kick out of it. So I liked it a lot.
I even brought Louis cookies just to make up for it all.
That's funny, man. That's just great. Oh my gosh. All right, now let's move on to the playoffs. 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 And yeah, so playoffs, the people in it were decided. Technically, seeding is not yet decided. There's still a lot of games to be played this coming week that will have a lot of different implications. So it is interesting to go into this, and I'll touch on some of them as I'm going through kind of our matchups for this week. But one thing I will note is the playoffs. You'll For those of you who pay attention, the games themselves of who's playing who has not changed. However, the seeding completely has. So Casey was number 2 last week, but because he got a victory and Allison did not, he went to number 1. Well, Kyle ended up losing. So and Bob won, and so because Bob has more points than Kyle, Bob gets flipped. And so now Allison and Bob, instead of being the 1 and 8 playing each other, now the 2 and 7 playing each other. And then Casey and Kyle are now the 1 and 8 playing each other instead of the 2 and 7. So the games have not changed at all, just the seating slightly has. So that's how we're shaping up right now.
You just confused the hell out of me, and I don't even care.
I know, it doesn't even matter. It's all the same games, just different seeds on the teams.
All right.
So
gotcha.
that's probably the easiest way to explain it. And we got one more week because we got the week 14 matchups coming up right now. So we're going to start with your matchup with Glenn. This is an important matchup, just so you're aware.
It is.
I know, because don't be last. You don't want to be last.
That's what I've been fighting for most of the year. So,
but I will say you are way ahead in points. So even if you were to lose this matchup, I think you're so far ahead in points that I don't know that it would matter too much. You can't. I think you need at least a decent. I know you have a pretty decent cushion. I'll say that if you were to lose this matchup. But speaking of lose, he lost Ramondre and potentially Amari Cooper with a concussion. You lost Trevor Lawrence.
Right.
And are having to find out who that next QB is going to be. And we'll all find out tomorrow morning at like 3:30 in the morning if you're up and you're able to see the waivers go through right when they do.
I will be up, and I will make sure they go through.
So we will see who you're going to play. Are you worried at all, Andy?
Well, yeah, you got to always be worried because, I mean, hell, I've had games where I've had 2 running backs go out in the first series and get, 0.3 points. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, you're always worried. But, I'll just do the best I can. And I'm just hoping that Tyler doesn't win. And
Yeah, that'll
We'll be-
ultimately save everybody right there, except for
if
Tyler.
Tyler doesn't win, then I will get the shirt with the names on the back printed as long as that's not my name. So.
Okay. Well, I will say, Glenn, you're in a tough spot because
Joanne's
you are
home.
lowest in points. Hey, Joe. Welcome to the podcast.
Greg, how are you?
Doing good.
Everybody
Trying to
all right?
learn about fantasy football from Andy.
Oh,
No.
oh, okay. Well, I'll have you know, he gets pretty pouty. Couldn't even talk to him on Sunday because he did not want to lose. I have to live with that.
Well, luckily he won, so hopefully it's been a better
Yeah.
place to be.
Yeah. Token, no, we all experienced his winning.
It was good. Winning is good.
Winning is good. I like winning. Winning good.
I've only done it 4 times this year. Honey, stop. I'm doing this when I get done.
So just a little thing. This is how
We are
crazy.
taping.
Oh, never mind.
Yeah.
I was gonna vent a little bit.
What you got, Joe? What are we selling? What are we making?
No, we have like $106 in Kohl's cash, and
Oh.
somebody hacked our Kohl's cash and used it all up yesterday.
What?
Yeah,
It had to be an employee.
that's what I'm saying.
We got hacked on fake cash.
We got hacked on Kohl's cash.
Our fake cash stolen.
Fake cash.
Oh my gosh.
All right.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
And
All
I
right.
thought she was mad at me.
Andy used the Kohl's cash. It wasn't
been
Andy. But I will say, so to wrap up this game, Glenn will play some different people, just so you're aware. He has Khalil Herbert on the bench as well as Tyson Chandler. So I'm guessing at least one, if not both, may see the field. He's got some other places you can do in the flex spot. So we will see on that one. But should be a close matchup against 2 teams that don't want to be last.
Exactly.
All right, next one. Don't be last either, Tyler, because if you lose, you are last. And
Come on, Allison.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's rooting heavily for, but actually Tyler finally he won last week with having his top player out of Saquon Barkley. He won without him being in there, so he's in there this week. And then he's also got T. Higgins who's gonna be playing against them Colts, and with Browning looking better, hey, it might not be too bad. Who knows?
Yeah, he might be all right.
Yeah.
Come on, Allison.
Yeah, I was inside. I don't Swift, I didn't know what his injury was, so I don't know what's going on there, but if Dr. Sam didn't talk about it, it must not be important.
I didn't see any news on it today, so I think he'll be all right.
Yeah, probably one of those precautionary things. He's been like that for most of the year. He's, as you know, with Swift, he's often questionable. That's just how he rolls. He's just questionable. But on her end, I don't know if she changes much here. I don't think she does. I don't know if I even noted that she would, but just good to really see Tyler get some juice back into his lineup. But what I will say is Tyler needs a win. So he's got to win, and then he needs Glenn to lose. And he kind of locks up because Tyler is up on Glenn by 44 points. So he needs not only to win and Glenn to lose, but he would need then their point differential to be less than that 44 points. So that's what you need, Tyler, in order to not be last. That's where that goes.
Do my best to help Tyler. I'll do my best.
Any notes you have for this matchup before we move on to the next one?
Go, Allison.
Go, Allison. That's the only note that I know. All right. Here's an important one. Question of is he going to be back to number one in the East? Because ultimately, Louis playing Bob. So this is Licho against Bob's bandwagon. And if Licho wins, basically what he needs is he needs to win and needs Allison to lose. If that happens, then Louis is now number one and the number one seed at that point, and he takes over that spot. So that's why it's really important that happens. As long as that happens, he's fine. Anything you see in this matchup as to why that may not happen and why he may lose?
Well, again, I think Miami's playing great ball right now, and Tua and Hill are just outstanding together. Yep. But Louis got a pretty balanced offense, and I mean, I think Hurts is going to come back have a better game, even against Dallas. But
think so.
One thing that his lineup I don't like is that he has a starting quarterback and playing his top defense, and that just always. I don't feel comfortable with that, but that's just.
I feel you there. I never like my quarterback going against my defense. Other positions I can get by if it's just one. I did that this past week. I put the Jets as my defense and I had Bijan running against them. But I felt like the Jets were a better play than Cleveland, which was good because Cleveland got -2 points. So it worked out okay for that. But like you said, for your quarterback, there's just so much that is impacted on both of those sides that it feels like your ceiling and what your max score could be is tough to get to. But
and I'll give you an example of offsetting the quarterback somewhat is that he came out of Thursday with a good lead, although he played 4 players to my 2, and all 6 players played well except for his defense. But I had Nico Collins against his quarterback Stroud, and I felt pretty good with that matchup because I thought, hey, number one, Nico's his number one target, and a wide receiver usually offsets the quarterback a little bit. But I just don't like playing my defense against my quarterback. I just I don't feel good about it.
I agree with you on that. That's always a tough one. So we'll see how that goes. But it's kind of tough to bench number one defense in the league as well. But you're probably saying more of do you go with Stroud over Hurts just to avoid that and put your max.
I think Stroud will have another good game. I mean, he's been pretty solid.
Yeah, he's been wonderful, man. Even without Tank Dell, he still had a good game.
Yep.
So I would agree that's gonna be a tough one. And as you said, the Tua Tyreek stack that Bob has is just a really good stack to have, and really he just needs Tua to turn it up a little bit more. Tua's not been great. Like I said, he's had some good games mixed in with some poor games. Really, some like she had like a 12-pointer last week or something or 2 weeks ago. But he needs Tua to meet Tyreek's level is what I'll say because Tyreek is averaging, as you see, 23 points a game as a wide receiver in our league and half point. That's amazing. And so he needs Tua and Tyreek need to kind of meet. They need to continue to get 50+ points combined at least, like he did this past week, and that'll be an important part to him winning. I'll say that.
All right.
All right. Next up, me versus Sam. Okay, so here's how this breaks down. I could be number one, Andy. I could be number one. In case you didn't know. Right, but I need both Louis and Allison to lose. They both have to lose in order for me to get to that number one spot. I feel point wise, I'm over Allison by like 70 some points. Louis, I'm well under, so I need them both to lose, and then I go to the 9-5. Louis 8-6. Allison's 9-5 with me, and then I get number one because I have more points. That's what needs to happen, right there. So that's what can happen there. As far as Sam's side, I don't really know. I don't. He just kind of stays in the same spot. Unfortunately, he can't really move too far from that. He can get to 8-6 and be at a decent spot. So we'll see how that goes. But playoff
Well,
switcheroo is what I
Sam,
put for that.
Sam can, well, like I know he's got a player out or two, but Sam can either score 177 points or 89.
Yeah, he like trounces or he just like shits the bed. It's so weird.
Yep.
I will say he's probably going to play Justin Fields over Geno Smith, so I see that happening. But I don't know who his running back 2 is going to be. No clue. I really don't because I don't know that he has one right now. So maybe you're saying something I don't. And on my end, the only debate I'm having is do I play Rashee Rice or do I play Devontae Adams? Like that's literally my debate is which one of those guys do I play? Buffalo Bills are not a tough defense, so therefore I feel okay playing Rashee Rice against them. But Devontae Adams, like tough to go away from that name, but he's got a much worse quarterback. Would I rather have Rashee Rice with Patrick Mahomes, or would I rather have Devontae Adams with Aiden O'Connell? That's I don't know. What do you
Well,
think, Andy?
I think that's something you're going to have to sleep on and have nightmares over. I don't know what to tell you.
Thank you.
I think Adams will be fine.
Yeah, I think the same. It's whatever.
I think
Either
you have.
one.
I think you have a safer floor there, but I don't know. He'll be fine.
Yeah, we're gonna probably roll this way. He'll find a running back 2, and we'll go from there. And I gotta hope that Jamar Chase and Joe Mixon don't do what they did again. That's my hope. I don't want that to happen.
I guess the only question I have for you is why do you have Christian McCaffrey in your flex spot? Are you unsure if he's going to play or not, or what? What the hell? Just lock him into your running back and be done.
Listen, y'all are rookies, man. I play chess, motherfuckers. All right.
I don't know. Okay.
So
Okay.
chess here is and I think I've explained it. I do it all by time that they play, because even when Zach on the one podcast, I called him a rookie for doing it, and he had running back in that Thursday night game in his flex spot, and I just said, well,
Right.
what happens if
I
Najee
get
Harris
that.
at home trips down the stairs, and now Najee Harris can't go? You've like
I get that.
pigeonholed yourself.
I get that. So, okay.
Yeah, so that's why.
All
Plus,
right.
those are my 3 running backs. I don't know. Fucking throw whatever. I'm my team. My coach has decided that we're going to go 3 running back every week. That's what we do. Okay. I
I
only
know.
think I have
Yeah.
3 wide receivers. I don't even think I have a 4th wide receiver, Andy. I'm not kidding. I'm pretty sure it is Keenan Allen, Devontae Adams, Rasheed Rice. Those are the only 3 wide receivers I
So
think
then
I
why
have.
are you asking the question about who you're going to play at wide receiver?
Because it is between Devontae Adams or Rasheed Rice. Come on, man. Okay. Anyways,
Okay.
moving
Moving
on.
right on. We got to
Moving
beat
right
this
along.
minutes.
We're what?
We
What'd
got
you
to
say?
beat this hour in 30 minutes.
Yeah, we are. Anyways, we only got 2 more to go.
Okay.
Okay. So now we have Cases Aces at 10-3 versus Zach, the Mahomes slices. Much different ends of this spectrum, but is Casey going to secure the number 1 spot by winning this matchup? What say you?
Wow. Yeah, I mean Casey, I tell you, like I said earlier, Casey's had a really good year. He's had very good turnaround. I think he's got a solid squad. I think he'll be fine.
Yeah, I think so too. I think he's going to play a different running back. It won't be Algier. Probably. Well, here's what I'll say. He may play Algier. He may play Madison. He's also got Zay Flowers on his bench. So Madison and Flowers are both on his bench. We'll see if he decides to update anything there. Who knows?
Flowers has been great. I'm checking into a squad right now.
Those are only 2 that I noted for potential changes, but
yeah, I'd put Madison in and Flowers probably, and he'd be good. But that's just my thought.
yeah, I definitely would put Madison in over Algier. So I know that would happen for me. And I don't know, man. It's kind of tough. Like I'm on Ross stand.
Touchdowns though lately.
What, Sutton?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. That's where I think it's actually he might stick with this and maybe move Madison over Algier. But who knows? I mean, Algier, if they get enough run, Tampa Bay the last couple of weeks hasn't looked as good against the run as they had previously. So maybe that's a good spot.
Mark this down. Play Zay Flowers. They're at home playing a West Coast team that has to travel east. I'm going
That's
Flowers.
true. There you go. There you go. And then the only other thing I would put is for tight end, Zach will play Pitts. He's got Kyle Pitts on his team. He'll put Pitts into that tight end spot, and his team will still suck. So that's what's going to happen probably. So sorry about you,
Why?
Zach. Yeah,
Uh,
Andy's like icky. Ugh, Pitts.
Ah,
Ugh. Trust
the
me, I
unicorn.
know. I know how it goes, and I did not touch that man this year. No thanks. No thanks. All right,
Yeah.
on to our last one. And this one actually is an important one too, because EJ could be the new number one. He could be the new number one in the West. If he were to win, so basically, if EJ wins, um, if he wins and Casey loses, EJ is then number one in the West. And I believe at that point it would also vault him to number one overall, as long as like Louis didn't win. Or no, yeah, he'd be number one overall. So EJ would be number one overall if he wins and Casey loses. It would put EJ as the number one at that point. Um, to touch on this matchup, Kyle, I had mentioned to you, has Ezekiel Elliott, so he kind of gets him in the right week to be able to play Zeke and in his flex spot. Anything else that you're noticing as to why it might lean one way or the other?
Yeah, because I know EJ and he wins at everything.
Okay.
Get used to it, Kyle.
Okay. So EJ's going to win
he
just because he wins.
I think he just looks rock solid. I mean, hell, he has other players on his bench that he could replace and still score more points. So
Yeah.
he's solid. He's got tons of running backs. He's got. I'm not so sure about Justin Jefferson coming back yet, but he has other people. Well, not really. No. Watson's going to probably be out.
Yeah, Watson will be out. Kirk will probably, it sounds like he'll be out because I think Kirk had surgery. He had surgery on his
Yeah, he's
core,
out.
so he's out.
I heard he's out.
So you gotta hope Justin
Watson,
Jefferson.
I don't think Watson's a pussy. He
Yeah,
has
he's out a
hamstring
lot.
Cheetos. They just snap.
Yeah, he's definitely
And he
out.
doesn't really have any other wide receivers other than Dante Johnson. But
Yep. But Deontay go in that spot. He's solid
Yep.
player if they're giving him the ball.
Yep.
So
No, I mean it'll be a good game. I think it'll be tough both ways, but I'd probably lean towards EJ here. I think he's got a pretty solid squad.
yeah, I'm thinking the same. I mean, Baltimore is a tough defense, and I know that he's going against them with Kyron and Cooper Cup, and that's a tough D to go against. And same with Cleveland, but Cleveland has been a little more banged up lately, and so they're not playing as good a D. And on the other side, I think for Kyle, he's got some good matchups. You know what? You hate him all you want, and I don't know why you hate Taysom Hill so much, but he's been a huge player this year. Why don't you like Taysom Hill? As I think about it, I'm like, shouldn't we all love like that kind of football? He just plays football. That's what he does.
He's not an atypical football player in a position, and then he takes and he scalps points from other good fantasy players. I mean, it's a weird concept. It's not. I don't like him.
You don't like him as the fantasy Taysom Hill, but do you like
Right.
Taysom Hill as the actual football player?
I don't know. I'm not a big fan of the tush push. I'm not a big fan of,
Yeah, he doesn't
him.
do a tush push, man. Taysom Hill doesn't need a tush push. He himself is a man. He just runs.
But, I mean, no, I mean, I get it, and they're utilizing the best way they can and everything, but I'm just never been a big fan.
I don't understand why he never throws the ball. Like he was a quarterback at one point.
But he did when Drew Brees was out for a while. He played like 4 games or so, and he had a hell of a time throwing on a regular basis.
Oh, I get it. I'm just saying he never throws. Like it is he is not like when he's in and doing the wildcat. I for some reason have this in me that like one time he's going to throw, and he never does.
Well, and this is another thing. If I was a defensive coordinator and Taysom Hill goes out there, I mean, they don't even use him as a decoy. If he goes out there, he's getting the ball. Why are we keying on this guy?
I know.
And put a ghost on him, whatever you got to do. But if you know he's there, he's gonna do something with the ball. So I just
He's
don't get it.
faster than I've ever given somebody him credit for. Like he's actually got good speed, and he's a big dude.
For a
Like
white man.
I like him a lot. I think this year, man, this year he's impressed me. He's been impressive this year because he's been more consistent this year
Yeah,
in
he's
the
scored
role.
120 points. Yeah, he's done better. So okay.
Yeah, so I like it. So I think that's a big one because Carolina sucks. Like Carolina's defense sucks, and with them having their QB issues as well, and with more Jameis, they're gonna want less Jameis, and they're gonna put Taysom Hill in there more. So I think that
He'll be
helps.
playing. Yeah, that's a good point. He'll be playing a lot.
But
Yep.
EJ will have a full lineup this week because Hawkinson's playing, so he'll have a full lineup. And it's funny. I looked at
There.
EJ's team and I totally understood. I'm like, yeah, I don't want to drop any of those players for a tight end just for the week. Nope, that's all right.
Exactly. No, I
So
get it.
smart move. Smart move. All right. Well, that wraps up week 14's matchup, but we're not done, Andy. You and
Oh God.
I had a contest here, and you wanted to really talk it through.
This one we might go over an hour and a half now. Now, I mean, the thing about the DFS I've liked is that you really got to play with schedules because you have that dollar limit. And
Yep.
that's a concept you and I played with it the last 2 years, and I've really tried to get my head around it. But I was pretty fortunate. All my receivers just went off.
Man, tell me about it.
They just went off. And I think that was about it. That's all she wrote.
If you put this lineup into a tournament, you'd have won some good money. At least been like up there. A lot of the lineups that win the actual like big money get in like the 200-ish range, or at least 180 to 200 range. It's kind of crazy what these people can crank out there, but that was a great lineup. I mean, that's one of the higher point totals that we've had. Honestly,
Yes, it is.
I don't think we broke 170 because I hit like 168 once, I think, but that was
Yeah.
about it. So that's
I
as high
think
as you
you
can
had
go.
the highest score, but as far as overall team from top to bottom, this was one of my best. And
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, like you saw, we both put in Sutton and we both put in the Falcons and we both put
Yep.
in Zach Moss and Zach Moss, I was like, man, that's a free square
Yep.
because he's inexpensive and Taylor's out, but he didn't really produce like I thought he would. And hell, we could have been higher.
Yeah.
And then the only thing I did different this time was I waited for the tight end, and I didn't have a lot to spend, but I was able to at least get Fryermuth, but he didn't do a whole lot. But
He was on my list. I think he was up there with Logan Thomas and Price. I think they were similarly priced.
I think they were.
Yeah,
Because
and I believe I chose Thomas because of the stack with Jalen Waddle. I just thought, okay, I'm going to get two guys in that game, and that's kind of where I went with it. For me,
yeah,
obviously, Tank Dell wasn't going to help me in this manner, but I do think I do
no,
think if he plays, that means Nico doesn't have as much, and it'll be a little bit closer. But that wasn't where the separation really was. I thought the separation would be more in our quarterbacks because we played quarterbacks in the same game. Um,
yeah.
so I thought that
But
plus the receivers, but
I would kind of almost disagree with you a little bit about Tank Dell getting hurt because the beginning of the game is where Nico was getting a lot of his catches, even before Dell got hurt. And I know it was early in the game, but he made like 2 or 3 long catches from Stroud early in the game. And that was even before Dell was involved. So,
yeah, but he had some more at the end too.
but then,
Also,
but Devo was the one that just went off
yep,
Sunday night. And I was ecstatic. I was back and forth between Debo and Ayuk, but it was that
same.
$1. It was that $1 that I had to go with Debo because I didn't have enough for a decent tight end. And I was like, I'm going with Debo and hopefully he goes off. And sure enough, he did.
It's funny. I actually did put one into a 50-50. So it's basically where you don't really
Mm-hmm.
get your full dollar back. You don't get two, you get like $1.80. But my team, I actually hit the cash line, so I got the $1.80, but my stack was Purdy, and I actually went with Ayuk instead of Debo because I thought they were only $1 apart, And I've liked Ayuk's been great this year. So I went with
Absolutely.
Ayuk instead. And you're right. Debo would have been the right call. And it was between those two. And I'm like, I'm going to go with Ayuk. He's only $1 more. And I think, it'll work out. But you're right. Like, you made the right choice with Debo. And Mike Evans. I mean, just what a great year that guy's had. Um, and like I think that was another one, and one that I can't seem to get myself to do is something that you did. So Mike Evans and Rashad White combined for over 40 points. And I can never seem like I always seem to shy away from playing a wide receiver and running back on the same team. I don't know why. Like I just feel like, I don't want to do that. But it's proven that it works fine. Like Mixon and Chase just went off together, right? It's like these things
Well,
happen.
and you see the same thing in the Dolphins. I mean, Hill and Mostert can go off, or A-Chain when he's
Yep.
back. But I mean, there's nobody behind White. He gets the volume,
Yeah.
and that's all I'm counting on. And Mike Evans, I happen to be looking at something that historically against Carolina, he plays pretty well.
Yep.
So that kind of tipped my scale, because I'll be honest, I'm not a huge Mike Evans fan, but he does produce sometimes. And I mean, I kind of got lucky on this one that all my receivers went off and I had a pretty balanced schedule, but there wasn't a receiver that disappointed me.
No, you played it well. My team shat the bed. It was a no bueno. No good on my end there.
That would have been my second smoked old fashioned.
You did. You smoked the shit out of me. And so now we are 7-6 on the year. So I'm only up one now, man. I've lost 2 in a row. I do not want to lose 3. We have not done that yet this year. It's always been back and forth a lot. And one might win 2, but then the next one gets it. So
yeah, I get
we'll
it.
see how this goes. But it's a lot of fun.
Yes.
We'd love to have more people join it in, because you're right. Like, as you learn the game, it's just fun. And I'd be fine if somebody wants to join for free and just play with us. Like, you don't got to be a
I know.
part of our little betting thing. Like,
Well, and especially, kind of my situation, I've had such a rough year. It's kind of like, it keeps me going, and
yep.
I don't want to quit and waive all my team and everything, but it just keeps me going, and I enjoy the competition, and it is fun. And I think maybe next year I might try to get some permission and dip my toe into it.
Oh yeah.
So, I got an allowance I got to watch.
Hey man, I'm with you, dude. I'm in. I'm in for what you're talking about.
No, it's a lot of fun.
It is. So we're hoping others can join us in that. But appreciate you doing it. And another good victory for you, Andy. That's 2 in a row. You're heating up, as they would say in NBA Jam.
There we
Heating
go.
up. But that wraps us up for this week 13 recap. Thank you, Andy, for coming on. I appreciate you.
Well, I love you and love everybody on the league, and watch out next year. I'm coming back.
Well, we love you, and it's not over for you, Andy. There's still a consolation bracket that you can win and get yourself 30 buckaroos. All right?
All right. I'm after it.
All right, cool. All right, well, love you very much, sir. Take care
of you
too. Of yourself, and give Joanne our love as well.
Yeah, she's upset about the Coles catch. Somebody hacked it. Oh man, I'd be pissed.
That's brutal.
Well,
that's
shit, man. We have
a lot of money.
I'd be in that manager's face. I'm gonna file a little.
Yeah.
I'll get a little steep.
That's $106. That's a lot of money.
We went one day, and we actually just tried to. I needed to get some different. Where I'm working now is different. I wear jeans every freaking day.
Yeah.
Where I used to wear business stuff. So we had to get some stuff, and we ended up spending some money. I was like, holy shit. But it was like, okay. And they're like, oh, Coles cash. So we were like last night going, hey, we need to spend this. And she was going to go shopping today to get some stuff. And then she comes back and she was looking mad. I thought it was maybe because of the way the kitchen looks right now, but I'll clean it up. But she's good. So,
all right, that's good.
Well, you take care of yourself, young man.
The same.
All right.
All right. Love y'all. Peace out.
Love you. Gotta go to bed.